The ultimatum. The Craven Empire's dreadnought materialized above Earth like a storm cloud made of metal and malice. It was massive, stretching nearly 50 kilometers from bow to stern, its hull adorned with the scars of 1,000 conquered worlds. For 300 years, the Craven had swept through the galaxy like a plague, subjugating every species they encountered. Today, they had come for humanity. Commander Zara Mitchell stood in the United Earth Defense Command Center, located deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. She was a woman forged by decades of military service, her steel-gray hair pulled back in a severe bun, her brown eyes sharp as they tracked the alien vessel on the main display. Around her, dozens of officers worked at their stations, but the room had fallen into an eerie silence as they all watched the impossible ship hover above their world. "Commander Mitchell," Lieutenant Jackson reported from his communications console, his voice barely steady. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies. The message is... It's in perfect English." Zara straightened her uniform, a habit from her days as a fighter pilot. "Put it through, Lieutenant. Let's hear what they have to say." The main screen flickered, and an alien face appeared. The Craven were arthropod in appearance, with chitinous exoskeletons that gleamed like polished obsidian. This one had 6 eyes arranged in 2 rows, mandibles that clicked when it spoke, and appendages that ended in razor-sharp claws. Despite its terrifying appearance, when it spoke, its voice was cultured, almost pleasant. "Inhabitants of Earth," the creature began. "I am War Master Thexvar of the Craven Empire. Your species has been selected for integration into our glorious dominion. You have achieved spaceflight, colonized 12 systems, and shown remarkable adaptability. These qualities make you valuable as servants to the Empire." Zara stepped forward, activating her own communication link. "War Master Thexvar, I am Commander Zara Mitchell, speaking on behalf of United Earth. We've heard of your empire. We know what integration means to the Craven." The alien's mandibles spread in what might have been amusement. "Then you know resistance is pointless. We have conquered 300 species. Our technology is centuries beyond yours. Our fleet numbers in the thousands. You have, what, 200 ships? 300? Something like that," Zara replied calmly, which seemed to surprise the War Master. "I offer you terms," Thexvar continued. "Surrender within 72 of your hours. Your leaders will be executed humanely. Your military will be disbanded. Your population will be relocated to serve the Empire's needs. In return, we will preserve your genetic material and some of your cultural artifacts. This is generous by Craven standards." Dr. James Chen, Earth's leading physicist and the mind behind humanity's most classified project, stepped beside Zara. He was a thin man with wild black hair and eyes that always seemed to be calculating something beyond normal comprehension. He whispered something in Zara's ear, and she nodded. "War Master," Zara said, "we need the full 72 hours to consider your generous offer. There are billions of humans across multiple worlds. Coordinating a surrender of this magnitude takes time." Thexvar's 6 eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture of satisfaction. "Acceptable. But know this, Commander Mitchell. If you attempt to flee or fight, we will glass your worlds one by one. We will hunt down every human ship, every colony, every hidden outpost. Your species will cease to exist except as a cautionary tale." The transmission ended, and the command center erupted in heated discussion. Zara raised her hand for silence. "Status report. Where do we stand with Project Phoenix?" Dr. Chen pulled up a holographic display showing a complex array of installations scattered across human space. "We have 8 operational sites, Commander. The technology has been tested in controlled conditions, but never in actual combat. We've been preparing for something like this for 20 years, ever since we intercepted those Vrex transmissions about the Craven expansion." General Robert Hayes, a mountain of a man with a scarred face from the Mars Rebellion, leaned over the tactical display. 20 years of preparation against an empire that's been conquering for 3 centuries. Are we really going to bet everything on untested technology? "It's not untested," Chen corrected. "We've run thousands of simulations. The quantum resonance cascade is theoretically sound. The problem has always been scale and targeting. But with the Craven ship sitting right there, broadcasting its position to its entire fleet." He trailed off, a slight smile playing at his lips. Zara studied the display. "How many Craven ships are in the system?" "Just the dreadnought for now," reported Captain Lisa Park from the sensor station. "But long-range scanners show a fleet of approximately 800 vessels waiting at the edge of the system. They're expecting us to surrender or try to run." "They're not expecting us to fight?" Zara asked. "Based on their formation, no. They're in a standard occupation pattern, not battle formation. They think they've already won. Zara turned to address the entire command center. Listen carefully, all of you. What I'm about to tell you doesn't leave this room. 20 years ago, when humanity first learned about the Craven Empire, we made a choice. We could have built more ships, more weapons, tried to match them conventionally. Instead, we chose a different path. She gestured to Dr. Chen, who brought up a new display. It showed a strange device, looking almost organic in its design, with crystalline structures that seemed to pulse with their own light. This is a quantum cascade resonator, Chen explained. It doesn't destroy matter in the conventional sense. Instead, it creates a quantum entanglement between particles at the subatomic level, then induces a cascade failure in the strong nuclear force. The effect spreads from particle to particle at near light speed, but only to materials with specific quantum signatures. General Hayes frowned. In English, Doctor. We can make their ships dissolve at the atomic level while leaving everything else untouched. But more importantly, once the cascade starts, it spreads to any Craven technology with the same quantum signature. Every ship, every weapon, every piece of their technology will simply cease to exist. The room was silent for a long moment. Then Lieutenant Jackson spoke up. That's genocide technology, sir. No, Zara said firmly. It only affects their technology, not organic matter. The Craven themselves will be unharmed. They'll simply find themselves floating in space where their ships used to be. It's actually more humane than conventional warfare. But won't they just rebuild and come back? Captain Park asked. Chen shook his head. The cascade creates a quantum scarring effect. Any technology built using their current methods will be vulnerable to the same resonance. They would need to completely redesign their entire technological base from scratch. It would take them centuries to recover. Zara looked around the room at her officers. We have 72 hours to prepare the greatest deception in human history. The Craven need to believe we're panicking, evacuating, preparing for surrender. Meanwhile, we'll be positioning our resonators and preparing for a demonstration that will change the balance of power in this galaxy forever. Commander, General Hayes said quietly, are we really going to do this? Use a weapon that could potentially destroy an entire civilization's technology? Zara's expression hardened. General, the Craven have conquered 300 species. They've killed billions, enslaved billions more. They came here expecting to do the same to us. We're not going to destroy them. We're going to stop them. There's a difference. She turned back to the main display, where the Craven dreadnought hung like a sword over Earth. Begin Operation False Dawn. I want every civilian ship capable of interstellar flight to begin evacuation procedures. Make it look chaotic, desperate. Launch our military vessels in defensive formations but have them fall back systematically. Let the Craven see exactly what they expect to see. And the resonators? Chen asked. Begin final calibration. I want all 8 sites synchronized and ready to fire on my command. She paused, then added, and Dr. Chen, begin broadcasting quantum fluctuation readings on the frequencies the Craven are monitoring. Make it look like we're trying to hide something but failing. As her staff rushed to implement her orders, Zara remained standing before the display. The Craven thought they were dealing with just another young species to be conquered. They had no idea that humanity had spent 2 decades preparing for exactly this moment. They had no idea that humans, when cornered, didn't just fight back. They eliminated the threat entirely. The countdown had begun. 72 hours until humanity showed the galaxy why some species should never be threatened. The deception. 48 hours had passed since the Craven ultimatum, and from space, Earth appeared to be in complete chaos. Civilian ships launched from every spaceport, their trajectories erratic and desperate. Military vessels attempted to form defensive lines, only to fall back repeatedly as if overwhelmed by the mere presence of the Craven dreadnought. It was a masterpiece of deception, choreographed down to the smallest detail. In the hidden command center, Commander Zara Mitchell watched the performance with grim satisfaction. Every panicked transmission, every failed military maneuver, every refugee ship was part of an elaborate theater designed for an audience of conquerors. War Master Thexvar is requesting another communication, Lieutenant Jackson reported. Put him through, Zara ordered, quickly adjusting her appearance. She had purposely foregone sleep, allowing dark circles to form under her eyes. Her uniform was slightly disheveled, her hair not quite as perfectly arranged as before. She needed to look like a commander watching her world fall apart. The Craven War Master appeared on screen, his mandibles clicking in what Zara had learned was their equivalent of satisfaction. Commander Mitchell, I observe your evacuation efforts. They are futile. We have deployed interdiction fields around the system. No human vessel will escape. We have families, children, Zara said, allowing a note of desperation to creep into her voice. Surely the mighty Craven Empire can show mercy to the innocent. Innocence is irrelevant, Thexvar replied. All humans are resources of the Empire now. Your attempts to flee only demonstrate the wisdom of our judgment. A species that runs rather than submits honorably requires firm control. Behind Zara, Dr. Chen was monitoring the quantum resonance readings from all 8 Phoenix sites. He gave her a subtle thumbs up. The Craven were scanning Earth continuously, but their sensors couldn't detect the resonators. The devices existed in a state of quantum superposition until activated, essentially invisible to conventional detection methods. War Master, Zara said, I need to ask you something. In your 300 conquests, has any species ever surprised you? Thexvar's 6 eyes focused on her with interest. An unusual question, Commander. No. Every species follows predictable patterns. They fight with whatever weapons they have, they lose, they surrender, or are destroyed. Why do you ask? I'm trying to understand our options, Zara lied smoothly. If fighting is hopeless and running is impossible, what choice do we have? Wisdom, the War Master replied. You have 24 hours remaining. I suggest you use them to convince your population that submission is preferable to extinction. The transmission ended, and Zara immediately turned to her staff. Status report. General Hayes pulled up the tactical display. The rest of the Craven fleet has moved closer, Commander. They're now holding position just outside lunar orbit. 817 vessels confirmed. They're getting confident, Captain Park observed. Their formation is even looser than before. They really think we're beaten. Good, Zara said. What about our special operations teams? All 12 teams are in position, Hayes reported. The dummy installations are broadcasting exactly as planned. If the Craven detect any of our quantum signatures, they'll target the decoys. This was perhaps the most crucial part of the deception. Humanity had built 12 fake Phoenix sites, each one designed to emit quantum fluctuations similar to the real resonators. If the Craven somehow detected the trap, they would waste their first strikes on empty facilities. Dr. Chen looked up from his calculations. Commander, I've been analyzing the Craven Dreadnought's emissions. Their entire fleet operates on a synchronized quantum frequency. It's how they maintain instantaneous communication across vast distances. And, Zara prompted, it means the cascade effect will be even more devastating than we calculated. When the resonators activate, the quantum entanglement won't just spread through their ships. It will propagate through their entire communication network. Every Craven vessel, station, and facility connected to their quantum network will be affected simultaneously. Lieutenant Jackson paled. That could be thousands of ships across the galaxy. Tens of thousands, Chen corrected. The entire Craven Empire could lose all of its technology in a matter of minutes. The weight of what they were about to do settled over the command center like a heavy blanket. They weren't just defending Earth anymore. They were about to fundamentally alter the balance of power in the entire galaxy. Sir, Jackson said suddenly, I'm picking up transmissions from the outer colonies. Mars is reporting that they're ready. The Jupiter stations confirm Phoenix Sites 3 and 4 are operational. The asteroid belt mining stations have evacuated all personnel from the target zones. Zara nodded. Everything was falling into place. And our allies? The Centauri colony is maintaining radio silence as ordered, but their last encrypted burst confirmed Site 7 is ready. The Wolf 359 outpost reports Site 8 is operational. For 20 years, humanity had spread across the stars not just to explore and colonize, but to prepare for this exact scenario. Every major human settlement had been chosen not just for its resources or habitability, but for its strategic position in creating a network of resonators that could protect human space from any threat. Commander, General Hayes said quietly, pulling her aside. There's something else. Intelligence reports from our deep space monitoring station suggest the Craven aren't the only ones watching this situation. We've detected Vrek scout ships at the edge of sensor range, and there are quantum signatures that might be Altarian. The Vreks and Altarians were 2 of the few spacefaring species that had managed to avoid Craven conquest by staying hidden or maintaining strict neutrality. If they were watching, it meant the entire galaxy was holding its breath to see what would happen to Earth. Let them watch, Zara said. They're about to witness something unprecedented. Dr. Chen suddenly straightened at his station. Commander, we have a problem. The Craven are launching dropships, hundreds of them, heading for major population centers. On the main display, swarms of smaller craft emerged from the dreadnought's belly, descending toward Earth like a plague of locusts. Each one carried hundreds of craven warriors, ready to begin the occupation. "They're starting the invasion early," Hayes growled. "They're not waiting for the deadline." Zara's jaw tightened. "War Master Thexvar is testing us. He wants to see if we'll reveal any hidden weapons when faced with immediate threat to our cities." "What do we do?" Park asked. "If those troops land?" "We stick to the plan," Zara said firmly. "Order all military units to engage the dropships with conventional weapons only. Make it look like we're fighting desperately but ineffectively. Commander, that means some of those ships will get through. Craven warriors will reach our cities." Zara's expression was ice cold. "I know. But if we reveal our hand now, we lose the element of surprise. The Craven need to believe they're winning right until the moment they lose everything." She activated a secure channel to all Phoenix sites. "All stations, this is Commander Mitchell. The enemy is beginning their invasion ahead of schedule. Maintain operational security at all costs. No one activates until my signal. Mitchell out." The next few hours were agony. Human fighters engaged the Craven dropships in desperate dogfights, managing to destroy dozens but watching helplessly as hundreds more slipped through. The first Craven warriors landed in New York, London, Beijing, and Mumbai. Reports of fighting flooded in from around the globe, but hidden in bunkers beneath those same cities, human soldiers waited with weapons the Craven had never seen. Not energy weapons or projectiles, but quantum disruptors, handheld versions of the same technology that powered the Phoenix sites. They couldn't destroy ships, but they could neutralize Craven personal technology, leaving the invaders vulnerable to conventional firearms. 15 hours until deadline, Jackson reported. Zara watched the tactical display as more Craven ships moved into the inner system. They were getting careless, drunk on their apparent victory. Their formation was spread out, perfect for maximum effect from the resonators. "Dr. Chen," she said quietly, "begin final synchronization. I want all 8 sites linked and ready to fire simultaneously." Chen's fingers flew over his console. "Quantum entanglement established between all sites. The resonators are charging. Commander, once we begin the activation sequence, it can't be stopped. The quantum cascade will build until it reaches critical mass." "Understood," Zara said. She looked around the command center at her officers and staff. "Ladies and gentlemen, in 15 hours we're going to show the galaxy that humanity doesn't just defend itself. When threatened with extinction, we remove the threat permanently. Every species watching needs to understand that Earth is not a world to be conquered. We are not a species to be enslaved." As the countdown continued, reports came in from around the globe. Craven warriors were being held at bay in major cities, confused by weapons that could neutralize their advanced armor and shields. The invaders were learning that humans were far more dangerous than they appeared, but the real surprise was yet to come. The demonstration. The final hour had arrived. Commander Zara Mitchell stood at the center of the command platform, surrounded by holographic displays showing the positions of every Craven ship in the solar system. 817 vessels, plus the massive dreadnought still hovering over Earth like a predator savoring its kill. They had no idea they were about to become the first victims of humanity's true power. "Commander," Dr. Chen reported, his voice tight with anticipation. "All Phoenix sites report ready. Quantum resonance is stable across all 8 installations. We can fire on your command." "Not yet," Zara said calmly. "Open a channel to War Master Thexvar. It's time for the final act." The Craven commander appeared on screen, his chitinous features radiating smug satisfaction. Behind him, other Craven officers could be seen celebrating what they believed was another successful conquest. "Commander Mitchell!" Thexvar clicked his mandibles in amusement. "Have you called to surrender? Your deadline has arrived and I see your forces are being overwhelmed across your planet." "Actually, War Master," Zara said, her entire demeanor changing. The exhaustion disappeared from her face, replaced by cold confidence. "I called to offer you a chance to withdraw." The alien's 6 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of confusion. "Withdraw? Commander, my forces are occupying your cities. Your fleet is scattered. Your evacuation has failed. What possible reason would I have to withdraw?" "Because in approximately 10 minutes your entire fleet is going to cease to exist," Zara said matter-of-factly. Thexvar's mandibles spread in what passed for laughter among his species. "Empty threats from a defeated enemy. How disappointing. I expected more dignity from your species." "Dr. Chen," Zara said without taking her eyes off the screen, "would you please explain to the War Master what's about to happen?" Chen stepped into view, his wild hair and excited eyes making him look like a mad scientist from ancient fiction. "War Master Thexvar, Are you familiar with quantum cascade theory? Your primitive science is of no interest, the alien replied dismissively. That's a shame, Chen continued cheerfully, because for the past 20 years humanity has been developing a weapon specifically designed to counter technological superiority. You see, all technology operates on quantum principles. Every atom, every molecule, every circuit has a quantum signature, and if you know that signature... He gestured and a holographic display appeared showing the Craven dreadnought. You can induce a cascade failure in the strong nuclear force that holds those atoms together. The effect propagates through any material with the same quantum signature at near light speed. Thexvar's translator clicked rapidly, consulting with his science officers. Impossible. Such technology would require energy levels beyond your capability. Normally, yes, Chen agreed. But you made a critical mistake, War Master. Your entire fleet uses quantum entanglement for communication. You've already created the network we need. All we have to do is introduce the cascade into one part of the system, and your own technology will spread it everywhere else. For the first time since the crisis began, Zara saw genuine fear in the alien's eyes. You're bluffing. If you had such a weapon, you would have used it already. We wanted to give you a chance to leave peacefully, Zara said. We're not conquerors, War Master. We don't want to destroy your empire, but we will not allow Earth to be enslaved. She gestured to General Hayes, who brought up a tactical display visible to both sides. Right now, 8 quantum cascade resonators are positioned around human space. When they activate, they'll create a cascade field that will affect every piece of Craven technology within 1,000 light-years. Your ships, your weapons, your stations, all of it will simply dissolve. The Craven warriors on your planet, Thexvar started. Will be unharmed, Zara assured him. The cascade only affects inorganic technology. Your soldiers will find themselves standing where their armor used to be, holding weapons that no longer exist. We'll return them to you unharmed, assuming you have any ships left to collect them. The War Master's composure finally cracked. This is madness. You would destroy the technology of an empire that has maintained order for 3 centuries? You maintained order through conquest and slavery, Zara replied coldly. That ends today. She turned to Chen. Doctor, begin the activation sequence. No, Thexvar shouted. Wait, we can negotiate. The Empire will grant Earth autonomous status. You'll be protected members, not slaves. Too late for negotiations, War Master. You should have offered that before you invaded our cities. Zara nodded to Chen. Do it. Chen's fingers danced across his console. Phoenix Sites 1 through 8, this is Control. Authorization code, Prometheus Unbound. Initiate cascade sequence. Across human space, 8 installations that had remained hidden for 2 decades came online. Each one was a masterpiece of human engineering, crystals grown in zero gravity, aligned at the quantum level, powered by controlled antimatter reactions. They began to pulse in perfect synchronization, sending waves of quantum energy rippling through space. Cascade field forming, Chen reported. Quantum resonance at 30% and climbing. On the main screen, Thexvar was shouting orders to his fleet, but it was already too late. The quantum cascade had begun, and nothing in the universe could stop it now. 50%, Chen announced, initiating targeting sequence. All Craven quantum signatures identified and locked, Captain Park added. The cascade will affect only their technology. 70%, field cohesion stable. Through the external cameras, they could see the first visible effects. The Craven dropships still in Earth's atmosphere began to shimmer, their hulls seeming to vibrate at a frequency too fast for the eye to follow. 90%, cascade approaching critical mass. War Master, Zara said, looking directly at the terrified alien commander. Remember this moment. Remember that humanity offered you peace, and you chose war. Remember that we gave you every opportunity to leave, and you chose to stay. And remember that when you threatened our extinction, we responded not with fear, but with innovation. 100%, Chen announced. Cascade critical mass achieved. Initiating. The effect was simultaneous across the solar system. Every Craven ship, from the smallest fighter to the massive dreadnought, began to dissolve. It wasn't violent or explosive. The vessels simply came apart at the atomic level, their matter dispersing into clouds of harmless particles. In seconds, where an armada of conquest had been, there was only empty space and floating Craven warriors in emergency survival bubbles that had activated milliseconds before their ships ceased to exist. But the cascade didn't stop there. Through the quantum entanglement network, the Craven used for communication, the effects spread instantly to every connected piece of technology. On worlds hundreds of light years away, Craven administrators watched in horror as their equipment simply evaporated. Ships in distant systems found themselves reduced to their component atoms. An empire built on technological superiority lost all of its technology in less than a minute. In the command center, there was no celebration. The magnitude of what they had just done was too immense for cheering. They had just neutralized the greatest threat the galaxy had known for 3 centuries, and they had done it without firing a single conventional weapon. "Commander," Lieutenant Jackson said quietly, "we're receiving transmissions from everywhere. The Vrex, the Altarians, the Sovereign Collective, every spacefaring species is asking what just happened." "Put me on all frequencies," Zara ordered. When Jackson nodded, she spoke clearly and calmly. "This is Commander Zara Mitchell of Earth. The Craven Empire attempted to conquer our world. We defended ourselves. Any Craven personnel in need of rescue will be given safe passage to neutral space. Any species that approaches Earth in peace will be welcomed as friends. Any species that comes with hostile intent will discover that humanity's capacity for defense has no limits." She paused, then added, "We possess the ability to neutralize any technology used against us. This is not a threat, but a statement of fact. Earth seeks peaceful coexistence with all species, but we will never accept subjugation." The transmission ended, and Zara slumped slightly in her chair, the weight of the past 72 hours finally catching up with her. "Commander," Dr. Chen said softly, "the cascade has completed its propagation. The Craven Empire's technology is gone, all of it." General Hayes was reviewing rescue operations. "We have approximately 12,000 Craven warriors on Earth's surface, all effectively disarmed. Another 50,000 floating in survival bubbles throughout the system. Begin rescue operations immediately," Zara ordered. "Treat them as prisoners of war under the Geneva Convention. They're to be housed, fed, and treated with dignity until we can arrange their repatriation." "Ma'am," Captain Park said, looking up from her station with amazement, "we're detecting massive quantum signatures throughout the galaxy. Dozens of species are coming out of hiding. Worlds that have been silent for centuries are broadcasting again." Zara stood and walked to the main viewing window, looking up at the stars that no longer held a conquering fleet. "We didn't just defeat the Craven, Captain. We showed the entire galaxy that bullies can be stopped, that technological superiority doesn't guarantee victory, that sometimes the youngest species can change everything." Over the following days, the full impact of humanity's action became clear. The Craven Empire, deprived of all technology, could no longer maintain control over its conquered territories. Species after species declared independence. The Vrex emerged from their hidden systems to offer alliance with Earth. The Altarians, who had maintained neutrality for millennia, sent their first ambassador to a foreign world, Earth. Former War Master Thexvar, rescued from his survival bubble and held in comfortable detention in Geneva, met with Zara one final time before being sent to a neutral world. "I do not understand," he said, his proud bearing diminished but not broken. "You had the power to destroy us utterly. Why show mercy?" "Because," Zara replied, "humanity learned long ago that the goal of war isn't destruction, it's peace. Your species isn't evil, War Master. You simply never encountered anyone who could stop you. Now you have. What you do with that knowledge will determine your future. And if we rebuild, if we come for revenge?" Zara smiled slightly. "The quantum cascade created a permanent resonance in your technological base. Any technology you build using your current scientific principles will be vulnerable to the same effect. You would need to completely reimagine your entire understanding of physics. That would take centuries, and by then, hopefully, you'll have learned that cooperation is more profitable than conquest." As the former War Master was led away, Dr. Chen joined Zara at the observation window. "The other species are calling us the Liberators," he said. "They want to know how we developed the Cascade technology." "We tell them the truth," Zara replied. "Humanity faced extinction, so we found a way to make extinction impossible. We studied, we prepared, and when the moment came, we were ready." "And the technology itself?" Zara was quiet for a moment. "We keep it, not as conquerors, but as guardians. The galaxy just learned that Earth is not a planet to be threatened. Let's make sure that lesson is never forgotten." Outside, the stars shone with a new light. For 3 centuries they had been the domain of conquerors. Now they belonged to all species equally, and watching over them, from a small blue planet that had seemed so insignificant, humanity stood guard with a weapon that had ended war with a single demonstration. The galaxy would never be the same again,